Have you ever felt it? That cold, creeping sensation in the back of your mind. The feeling that you are a pawn in a game you don't even know you're playing. You follow the rules. You work hard. You try to be a good person. But somehow, you always seem to be one step behind. Others who seem to do less, who seem to care less, glide past you. Their success a silent, mocking testament to your struggle. You dismiss it as luck, as unfairness, as just the way things are. But what if it's none of those things? What if it's a science, a dark art of influence being practiced right under your nose? A silent power that shapes your reality, directs your choices, and feeds on your naivety. You are being used, not with chains or with threats, but with whispers, with carefully crafted illusions, with a gentle, invisible hand, guiding you toward a destination that serves everyone but yourself. This isn't a conspiracy theory whispered in the dark corners of the internet. This is a timeless reality of human nature, a blueprint for control laid bare over 500 years ago by a man whose name has become synonymous with cynical power, Niccolo Machiavelli. They told you his name was a warning. They taught you to fear his ideas, to label them as evil, as the machinations of a tyrant, but they never told you the full story. They never told you that his words were not just a guide for princes, but a mirror for the powerless. A mirror that, once you dare to look into it, reveals the terrifying, liberating truth of the world. Tonight we are not just looking into that mirror, we are stepping through it. We will peel back the layers of deception that have kept you compliant, kept you predictable, and kept you weak. Prepare yourself, because what you're about to hear will either break you or set you free. The question is, which will it be? To understand the ghost that haunts your life, you must first understand the man who gave it a name. Niccolo Machiavelli. Florence, 15th century. A world of betrayal, shifting alliances, and brutal consequence. He saw firsthand how power truly operates, stripped of all its moral drapery. He wrote not about how the world should be, but how it is. And in that brutal honesty lies his most profound gift to us. His most chilling and misunderstood declaration is this: "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." We recoil from this. It sounds like the creed of a monster, but you have misunderstood. This is not about being a bully. It's about understanding human nature at its rawest level. Love is fickle. It is a bond of obligation, and Machiavelli knew that in times of crisis, men will break that bond if it serves their self-interest. Fear, however, is constant. The fear of consequences, the fear of loss. It is a much more reliable motivator. Think about your own life. Your boss doesn't need you to love them. They need you to respect the consequences of not doing your job. The quiet colleague who everyone listens to, not because he is loud, but because his disapproval carries weight. That is a form of fear. It is the fear of losing his respect, his cooperation. This is the silent power we speak of. It isn't loud or aggressive. It is the subtle, calculated cultivation of leverage. Machiavelli taught that the greatest power is the one that is never seen, only felt. It's the reason a certain person's opinion can silence a room. It's the reason you hesitate before challenging a particular idea even when you know it's wrong. You are not afraid of them shouting. You're afraid of the consequences they can silently enact. This is the world as it is. A world not of good versus evil, but of the effective versus the ineffective. And you, my friend, have been playing on the wrong side of that board for far too long. Where does this pain of being used come from? It begins in the cradle with the fairy tales they tell you. Be kind. Work hard and you will be rewarded. The truth will always win. These are beautiful lies designed to create a stable, orderly society. But they are not truths about the mechanics of power. The pain you feel is the constant grinding friction between the world you were promised and the world that actually exists. It's the sting of being passed over for a promotion you deserved, only to see it go to someone who is better at managing perceptions than doing the actual work. That is Machiavellian. It's the heartache of a relationship where you gave everything, only to be discarded for someone who offered a better strategic advantage, be it social status or emotional convenience. That is Machiavellian. It is the exhaustion of being the reliable one in your family or circle of friends, the one who always gives, always supports, always understands, while your own needs are silently, consistently ignored. You believe your virtue is your strength, but you are being taught through painful experience that it is being treated as a weakness. Your goodness is seen not as a gift, but as a resource to be exploited. Your desire to avoid conflict is not seen as wisdom, but as an invitation to be controlled. The root of your pain is this: you are bringing a code of honor to a knife fight. You believe in a moral contract that the other players have no intention of signing. They operate on a different set of rules. The rules of power, of leverage, of self-interest. And every time you are hurt, every time you feel betrayed, it is the world screaming at you, trying to teach you the language you refuse to learn. The language of Machiavelli. The pain is not a punishment, it is a lesson, a brutal, agonizing lesson. The grand illusion that keeps you trapped is the belief that intentions matter more than results. You believe that if you are a good person with good intentions, you should be protected from the harsh realities of the world. This is the most dangerous lie of all. The world does not reward you for your intentions, it rewards you for your outcomes. And those who understand this can manipulate you with ease. They have built a cage for you out of platitudes. Just be yourself. Authenticity is key. Speak your truth. But what they don't tell you is that the self they want you to be is the one that is most convenient for them. The truth they want you to speak is the one that doesn't challenge their power structure. Society has a vested interest in you remaining idealistic and naive. The system of silent power relies on a steady supply of well-meaning, predictable people who believe in the rules. These people are the bedrock of stability. The reliable workers, the compliant consumers, the unquestioning citizens. You are taught to see cunning as evil, to see strategic thinking as cold and heartless. Why? Because if you were to embrace these tools yourself, you would no longer be controllable. If you started analyzing the motivations behind every request, if you started seeing social interactions as a series of calculated moves, you would become unpredictable. You would become a player, not a piece. The architects of silent power do not want more players on the board. They want more pawns. So they sell you a fantasy of a world that is fair and just, all while they operate in the shadows, using the very tools they have taught you to despise. The illusion is that you are on a moral high ground. The reality is you are simply unarmed. It is time for the truth, the raw, unvarnished philosophical truth that Machiavelli etched into history. He said that a ruler, and in this, understand, you are the ruler of your own life, must learn how not to be good. Let that sink in. He is not saying you must be evil. He is saying you must be liberated from the obligation to be good when goodness will lead to your own destruction. Human beings, Machiavelli observed, are ungrateful, fickle, pretenders and dissemblers, avoiders of danger, eager for gain. This is not pessimism. This is realism. To expect loyalty without leverage, to expect fairness without fear of consequence, is to build your house on sand. The philosophical truth is that power, not morality, is the fundamental organizing principle of human society. Morality is a tool. It can be used to inspire, yes, but it can also be used as a weapon to control you. Those who shame you for being selfish when you prioritize your own needs are often the ones who benefit most from your selflessness. The world is a jungle. You can choose to be a sheep, hoping the wolves will spare you for your gentle nature, or you can learn the ways of the wolf. Machiavelli's philosophy is not an invitation to become a predator. It is a survival manual. It teaches you to be as cunning as a fox to recognize traps and as fierce as a lion to frighten away wolves. You must learn to wear a mask, not to deceive in a malicious way, but to protect your true self, your true intentions, from a world that will exploit them. You present the face the world needs to see in order to achieve your objectives. Your authentic self is a treasure you share only with those who have earned it, not with those who seek to plunder it. This is not hypocrisy. This is wisdom. And here is where the battle truly begins. Not in the world outside, but within the landscape of your own soul. The moment you accept these truths, a war breaks out inside you. The person you were taught to be is now in a mortal struggle with the person you must become to survive. It is a nauseating, terrifying conflict. Every strategic thought feels like a betrayal of your own character. Every act of self-preservation feels like an act of selfishness. Guilt will be your constant companion. You will analyze a situation, see the power dynamics at play, and know the Machiavellian move you need to make. But the voice of your old self, the voice of your conditioning, will scream at you. That's not you. You're better than that. Is it better to be good and lose, to be virtuous and be crushed, or is it better to adapt, to be effective, and to protect what you value? This is the crucible. This internal conflict is the death of your innocence, and it is a painful, agonizing death. You will feel like a monster. You will feel cold, calculating, and alone. But this is the process of transformation. It is the shedding of a skin that was no longer serving you. You are not losing your soul, you are forging a new one made not of fragile glass but of tempered steel. You must allow your old self to die. You must mourn it, but you must not allow it to win, because on the other side of this conflict is not a monster, but a survivor. Someone who is no longer a victim of the game, but a conscious, deliberate player. Someone who can navigate the darkness without letting the darkness consume them. Once the old self is broken, the reconstruction can begin. How does this philosophy, this dark wisdom, actually set you free? It is not by turning you into a tyrant, but by making you an artist of power, your own power. The first step is observation. You stop simply participating in life, and you start watching it. You watch people. You listen not just to what they say, but what they don't say. You study the currents of influence in your workplace, in your family, in your friendships. Who defers to whom? Whose opinion carries unspoken weight? You become a student of human nature. Next, you practice calculated detachment. You learn to separate your emotions from your strategy. When you feel slighted or angry, you don't react immediately. You step back. You ask yourself, what is the most effective move here? Not the most satisfying, but the most effective. Sometimes the most powerful move is to do nothing, to let others reveal their hand. Your silence, your patience, becomes your greatest weapon. You are no longer reacting to the game, you are forcing the game to react to you. You start to build leverage, silently. You acquire a skill that makes you indispensable. You build alliances not based on shallow friendship, but on mutual self-interest, the strongest bond of all. You learn to appear harmless, even ordinary. Machiavelli taught that the majority of men are satisfied with appearances, as though they were realities, and are often more influenced by the things that seem than by those that are. You let them underestimate you. Their perception of you as a non-threat is the ultimate camouflage. From within that camouflage, you can maneuver, you can influence, you can build your fortress, brick by silent brick, until you are no longer the one being controlled, but the one whose stability and favor others quietly seek. This is not about winning every battle. It is about positioning yourself so that you no longer have to fight. So we return to the beginning. That feeling of being a pawn. It is not your fate. It was your choice. A choice born of innocence, perhaps, but a choice nonetheless. You chose to believe in a world that does not exist, and you paid the price in pain and frustration. Machiavelli's gift was not a license for evil, but a pair of eyes to see the world as it is. A world of power, strategy, and consequence. He did not invent this world. He just dared to draw the map. The chains that held you were not forged by others. They were forged by your own refusal to see the truth. The silent power that controlled you was fueled by your own predictability. Now the map is in your hands. The truth is in your mind. The path forward is not easy. It requires a vigilance, a self-awareness that most people are unwilling to cultivate. It means accepting that you are responsible not just for your actions, but for their outcomes. It means seeing the world not as a stage for moral dramas, but as a complex, interlocking machine of interests. The most powerful people in the world are not the ones who shout the loudest. They are the ones who understand the machine. They are the ones whose silence is more meaningful than another's speech. They have mastered the art of being feared, not in a brutal way, but in a way that commands respect for their competence, their strategy, and the undeniable consequences of crossing them. They have influence because they are no longer pawns. They have become the quiet, unseen hand that moves the pieces. And so I leave you with this question, a question that will echo in the silent moments of your life from this day forward. Now that you know the rules of the game, will you continue to be its victim, or will you finally learn how to play? If this video touched something inside of you, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. Comment below with what made you think the most. We'll see you in the next video.